Hey friends! I'm back with another awkward angle to talk about week 38, which I officially am as of today. And there's a lot to talk about. I feel like I say that in every single week, but every single week I've come through, I think. So lots to talk about today. So first of all, I did do the GPS test last week, and it was nowhere near as invasive as I thought it would be, or that I remembered, thank goodness. Not a big deal anyways, but regardless, it got done, and by Monday I had my results. I'm negative, so all good news there. The contractions have started. I actually started about a week ago having contractions here and there. I've had contractions like throughout the third trimester, in particular like in the last month really, but they were very, very infrequent. Maybe like once a week I might get a contraction and it was like, oh, how interesting, I'm contracting. But in the last week they've begun in earnest, where there's times that I'm not feeling any discomfort whatsoever, but I'll feel my belly and I'll be like, oh wow, I'm having a contraction right now. Then there's also the type where I'm like, oh, I'm having a contraction right now and I really feel it and it's uncomfortable. And there's been a handful of times where I've had to like stop and hold my breath and like remind myself to breathe through the contractions because they've been so uncomfortable. So those are far less frequent, but they are happening, and there's been more than one of them, so worth noting. I had a scan and a non-stress test earlier this week because I went back to that other location that's much more thorough. This coming week I'm going back to my normal location, so I don't expect that they're going to be as thorough as, I'd like at this point. But while I was on the monitor for the NST, they did see that within like 20 minutes I had 3 contractions, one of which I didn't feel whatsoever, and one of which I was like, I'm having a contraction right now, help. So yeah, they almost kept me. They were like, let's wait and see what happens, let's keep you on the monitor a little longer and see if maybe we have to transfer you to the hospital because you might be in labor. And no, they reviewed it, and after keeping me on for a little while longer, I didn't have any contractions for the next like 15-20 minutes. So the point is that they are happening, and that's good because my body is practicing, preparing, etc. But they're not coming in any sort of like reliable interval, reliable pattern where they say, oh, it seems like these are productive, it seems like you're actually in labor, like these contractions are doing something to move things along, so it's go time. Like, it's nothing like that yet. My battery's like about to die like any moment now, which I wish I'd noticed earlier, but that means that I'm probably gonna have to resume this later. So in case I get cut off, that's what happened. I had a meeting with the doula earlier this week also, and I let her know about the contractions, etc. And she said that that's great. Again, my body's practicing, which is good because you want your body to be like wanting to labor. I have been drinking my red raspberry leaf tea for about a week now, and I've done that consistently. I've had a cup every day, and in the last like 2 days maybe, I think today will be day 3, I've also introduced dates into the situation. It's not all anecdotal. There have been some studies that show that dates help your cervix ripen, and like that they help with your labor not being as long, etc., etc. Same thing for the red raspberry leaf tea. It's meant to tone the uterus and make contractions and therefore pushing more productive so that you don't get exhausted during your labor. They can't hurt, so even if they're not exactly helping, that's fine. I figure, why not? I'll take any leg up I can, any advantage I can. And again, it doesn't hurt to have these things, so we're doing it. I've also started using probiotics in the last like week. I don't know why I hadn't been doing them throughout the whole pregnancy, but after my GBS came back negative, I was like, okay, well then now that I know that I don't have any bad buggies going on in my system, why not proliferate the good buggies? Because assuming that I do end up having a natural vaginal birth, baby passing through the canal and picking up good bacteria, those good probiotics, is a good thing for her overall health. And so if I can attribute to that, then why not? Again, it doesn't hurt, even if it ends up not being actually based in science and is not actually a thing that helps. It at least doesn't hurt, and I already had the probiotics on hand, so why not? And the last thing I have on my list to make sure that I talked about was I got myself a bamboo mattress cover. I'll post the one I bought specifically in the description box in case you want your own. But it's the kind that you typically put on like a kid's mattress to, if they have like a bedwetting accident, for example, to protect the mattress from getting wet and getting damaged. And the reason I bought that is because you guys know I've been sleeping on the couch. At this point, it's been like 2 months straight that I've been sleeping on the couch. I am so comfortable on the couch, way more comfortable than I am in bed. So it's very much by choice. I set up all of my pillows and all of my cushions to prop me up just so, and it's spectacular. But it occurred to me earlier this week, like, what if my water breaks overnight? I'm going to end up ruining our brand new couch that we've only had for like 4 months. So I figured, I know this brand, we've used it with our son before, and I know that it's very reliable. It works very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get one and put it on the area of the couch where I sleep, just in case, you know, just in case. I'd rather have it, you know, better safe than sorry, better have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So again, if that's something that hadn't occurred to you, that your bed, your couch, your recliner, wherever you're sleeping these days could potentially be damaged by your water rupturing overnight, something to consider, something to think about. The battery light is still blinking, but so far it's allowed me to talk up until this point. So let's see how far I can get before the camera dies on me. There's 38-week belly. Wild. My parents surprised us with a visit last night, and as soon as my dad walked in, I happened to be having a contraction at the time, so I was a little bit distracted, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, Tata, your belly's so big. The baby must be so big." Yeah, she probably is. I'm certain at this rate that she's going to be bigger than her brother was, and I'm feeling every bit of it. I do feel like she's gotten lower though. Like, I feel like, I don't know if I can say, oh, with certainty, oh, the lightning has happened where like she drops and she's engaged, and no idea. But I do feel like there's less bump to me up here and more of it has moved down here, if that makes sense. My mom agrees. My mom says that, like, yeah, you can tell, especially when I'm contracting, there's almost like a dip in my upper belly because everything is concentrated much lower. So I don't know, maybe that speaks to her position in the womb being lower, which is obviously a good thing because you want her engaged in the pelvis so that she's ready to come on out. Let's keep it going. Oh my gosh, the app actually says I only have 2 weeks to go. That's... Oh, this is a new one. Hold on. It's actually asking me, I don't know if you guys can see that there at the bottom of the app. Has your baby been born yet? That's the first time that's happened where they're like, potentially, your kid could already be here, so should we keep giving you updates, or are you guys good? Talk about things getting really real, right? Apparently, my daughter is now as big as a speak and spell toy, like from the 80s. She's as big as a swimming kickboard, as big as an extra large cheese pizza, as big as a mini watermelon, as big as the hat box from Lady and the Tramp, which is the little box that they actually present Lady in, like as a Christmas gift, and as big as Princess Buttercup's crown in The Princess Bride. Alright, cool. Whatever you say, guys. As far as updates, am I actually going to get through this whole video with my flashing battery light? Only a few weeks left to go. Little one isn't so little anymore, weighing about 7 pounds and measuring 20 inches in length, give or take an inch or two. Only 2 more weeks, 4 max, before your baby makes her appearance. Wow. Her lungs are still maturing and producing more and more surfactant. That's one thing that they always check for whenever they've done a scan, and she's doing fantastic, is the practicing breathing. So that's very exciting to actually witness all that, you know, to see it happening myself. Let me see what else. There's really not a lot for the app to tell me at this point because all the systems are already in place. It's just a matter of like waiting for labor pretty much. Your baby dropping into your pelvis, easier breathing, more pelvic pressure. I don't know about easier breathing because even though I no longer feel sick, I still do have that lingering cough, which is normal whenever you get sick at any point. Cough is typically the last symptom to go. But yeah, they're talking about colostrum and leaky breasts, etc. I never produced colostrum before my son was born. I haven't been producing anything now. And I actually spoke to the doula about stimulation as a means of starting labor, or should I start pumping now because I see a lot of moms pumping and collecting colostrum, etc. for baby to kind of like get a jump start on things. And she told me that she does not recommend it because then you have to collect the colostrum, you have to freeze it, etc. You have to remember to bring it with you to the hospital because that's the point, right? Is that you're pumping it for baby to have right away when they're born. And that's one more thing that you have to remember and keep in mind when it's go time. But also, she was saying that since you're already producing colostrum, then chances are your milk is going to come in earlier than it should, rather than your body taking its cues from the baby and what the baby needs. And so that means that your body might skip the colostrum stage altogether while your baby still needs colostrum. It'll just jump straight into providing milk. And it's because you've confused your body and given your body like signals that shouldn't be there. So fully agree. I'm not going to confuse my body. I don't need that. So I'm staying away from pumping for now. And the last little segment here. Baby's eyes right now are blue, gray, or brown. So now they finally have like color to them, which is nuts. The lanugo, which is the fine downy hair covering baby's body, is falling off in preparation for delivery. And your baby's lungs have strengthened and the vocal cords have developed, which means she's ready to communicate through wails and cries. So yeah, guys, 2 to 4 weeks left to go. We have an OB appointment today. We have a scan early next week. The day after that, we have another OB appointment. And then my OB's going out of town, or at least out of office, until after my due date, which I discussed months ago when I found out. And we said, what are we going to do? I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. That was one of the reasons I got a doula, was so that no matter what doctor I get set up with, somebody's already on my side advocating for me and knowing exactly my plans, what I want, etc., to advocate for me. But it's crunch time now. Literally in 5 days I'll be seeing my doctor, potentially for the last time, because she's not going to be available if I don't have my daughter this weekend, pretty much. So I want to ask her, like, I don't think she'll have answers for me, honestly, because it's a big practice, it's a big system, and how is she supposed to know who's going to be on call whenever I go into labor, when I don't even know when I'm going into labor? But I'm wondering, like, is there somebody in mind that she has to cover her cases? Are there any particularly VBAC friendly doctors that I could request if there's more than one on hand? That I don't know. Like I said months ago when I found this out, I thought we had a pretty good plan going. You'll be my doctor, I'll go into labor, you'll deliver me, boom. And she went and messed that all up by deciding to take like 2 weeks off, literally at the very end of my pregnancy. So the time has come for us to confront that and figure out what that means. So yeah, we'll discuss that today. And then, like I said, in a few days, it'll be our last time seeing her, period. And then we're on our own. So we've actually discussed, my husband and I, how, like, if there's time, if the way the labor presents itself is like a slow, steady thing, then obviously we're going to go to the hospital across town that we were intended to deliver at. But if for whatever reason, knock on wood, it becomes like an emergency situation where, like, oh crap, we have to go now to the hospital, we might not even bother making it that far, and we might just go to the hospital that we've been getting checked out at this whole time, which is much closer to us, because at the end of the day, regardless, my doctor won't be there to deliver me. So I don't know any of the nurses. I don't know any of the other doctors. I have zero loyalty to one location or another if my doctor is not going to be there. So I'm going to do what's best for myself and baby. And that might mean going to the closer hospital, depending on the circumstance. So Anyway, somehow I made it through the whole video. That's week 38. Next week, I'm sure there'll be tons more to talk about because I'll have today's OB appointment, I'll have the scan, and I'll have the following OB appointment, all to discuss. Plus, I'll be 39 weeks next week. I have a whole calendar going of my family and friends' predictions for baby's birth. And the dates that everybody's picking pretty much start mid next week. So who knows? Who knows what next week's video is going to look like. But for now, I have 38 weeks. And I'm so excited. Everybody's so excited and just waiting for, the anticipation is really building. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, camera, for cooperating and not shutting off halfway through on me. We'll be back really, really soon with week 39 and whatever that might bring. So we'll chat again shortly, I guess. Bye.